Hey, how's it going, everyone? And in today's video, I'm going to be summarizing the book called Bel and the Dragon. Now, this book was removed from modern day Bibles, but it used to be in the Geneva Bible, which was about 50 or 60 years before the King James took all those books out and reinterpreted into what we got into the modern day Bible. But this was in the Geneva Bible, and that's the Bible that all the Christians used before. It's the same Bible the Pilgrims used when they came over here. And the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, they actually still have this book in their Bible, and it's still part of their canon, and they do recognize it as Holy Scripture. So let's get into it. So this story is Daniel is involved in this story, and he's one of the main characters in it, the same Daniel that was thrown into the lion's den. This happens after that. So Daniel is in the town of Babel, and the king and all the inhabitants of this town, they worshipped Baal. And they had a idol that was carved, that they carved, and they had a temple and everything with the idol in it. And every single night, they would take 12 great measures of flour, 40 sheep, and 6 vessels of wine. And they would cook all that and make a huge feast out of it and lay it out every single night. And they'd come back the next morning and it would be completely gone and consumed. And the king and all the inhabitants thought that Baal was consuming all this stuff, and they worshipped him. But it says that Daniel worshipped Yahuwah Elohim, our God, the one true living God of Israel. And the king was like, hey, Daniel, why don't you worship Baal? And it was like, I only worship the one true living God, Yahuwah Elohim. And I don't worship any gods made by human hands. And the king was kind of got a little bit mad, and he was like, how can you say that our God is not living? Have you seen how much stuff he consumes every single night? And Daniel laughed at him, and he said, he's not consuming nothing. That's just clay on the inside, brass on the outside. It's just something y'all make by hands. It's not consuming anything. And the king got mad, and he called in all of his priests. And there was about 70 priests total in that town. And that's not even for Baal, the priest of Baal. There was about 70 of them, and not even including the women and children. So if you want to count all that, I'm thinking there has to be at least 200 of them, including the priests and their wives and children. So he calls in all these priests, and the king's like, you're going to either have to prove to me that Baal is consuming this stuff, or you're going to have to prove to me where it's going. If you can prove to me that Baal's consuming it, then I'll let you live. But if not, then you're going to die. And if they do prove that Baal's consuming it, then Daniel's going to be the one that has to die. And they both agreed to it. And Daniel was like, okay, let's do this. And so that night, they came up with this plan. The priest wanted the king to take every king had a signet on his ring that he could put his signet on stuff. And they wanted him to close the doors and put his signet on there and seal it so that they could prove that no one opened the door that night. Well, so they go and put all the feast in there like normal and everything. But before the king seals it, Daniel comes in, and he has his servants bring a bunch of ashes, and they just sprinkle ashes out all over the floor. Because these priests, it says, they had a secret entrance that came up underneath the table, and they would come in there at night, and they would consume all the food, them and their wives and all their children. And so the king seals it and everything, and they come back in the next morning, and the king opens the doors, and all the food's gone. The king's like, oh, great, the king's like, oh, how great is Baal? He consumed all this food, I told you. And Dave was like, no, look at all these footprints everywhere. Let's follow them and see where they go. So they follow them. They catch the priest and their family, and the king has them all slaughtered. And then the king believed Daniel. So he was like, Daniel, you can just do whatever you want to with this false idol and stuff. And so Daniel tears the temple down, destroys the idol and everything. But then the king was like, well, there's also this other god that we worship. And there happened to be like a great dragon, it says, that just kind of hung out around town, and all the king, they also worship this great dragon. And the king was like, hey, Daniel, why don't you worship this dragon? Because there's no way you can prove that it's not a living God, because it consumes food, it consumes water, it's alive, and it moves and breathes and everything. And Daniel was like, it's just a living creature, like any other animal. And if you let me prove it to you, I'll slay it without any sword. And so the king's like, okay, whatever. And so Daniel, it says that he took a pitch and tar and fat and threw it in his mouth, and the dragon burst into a slumber. So it sounds like he kind of made like a bomb or something that ignited when he went in there, is what I think. But anyways, he slays the dragon, and it doesn't really upset the king as much, but the whole entire town, like every single inhabitant, is just outraged. They got their temple destroyed, their idol was destroyed, their one last god they have left, the dragon, got slayed. And so they're so mad. They're about to dethrone the king, and his hands are forced. Like, he can't do nothing. Like, he has to take action because he doesn't want to lose his position. So guess what happens? They throw Daniel into the lion's den again. And this time he gets thrown in for 6 days. And during those 6 days, an angel had come and appeared to someone else and guided them to where the lion's den was at. This guy had no clue where Babel was at. He had no clue where the lion's den was at. But the guy was told by an angel to bring Daniel a dinner. So he brought Daniel some food, and Daniel got to eat and everything. And on the 7th day, the king opens it up. Daniel's just sitting there, unscathed, full belly. But the king was like, man, Yahuwah Elohim of David, the one true living God of Israel, is the only one true living God. And he just proclaimed that was the God, and they all started worshiping the one true living God. And the people that forced him to throw Daniel into the lion's den, he came back and threw them in, and then they all got devoured instead. But ever since then, that king and everyone worshipped the one true living God. It's an awesome story. I love it. I think they took this out just because of the simple title, Baal and the Dragon, and how David slayed the dragon. This was taken out. They just don't want us to know dragons existed. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Give me a follow and a like if you like this type of content, so you'll be updated on any future content I make. And the mystery is written, but not yet finished. I'll see you next time.